In July of 2018, the entire Fortnite community banded together to watch the rocket blast off, our first ever live event. The creation of this rift changed everything we knew about the game, and in the next season will be the birthplace of one of Fortnite's greatest mysteries for years to come.
Bro, why is that lasting so long? Bro, is this an event? What just happened?
Kevin would set out around the island on an unknown mission to find something or someone, with his journey lasting multiple seasons. First creating runes and sinking into the lake before eventually turning into a floating island. All of this led up to the end event, a fresh start with a new map, new POIs, and the end of the Kevin the Cube mystery, or so we thought. The only reference of Kevin was found at a new POI in Chapter 2 known as Steamy Stacks, a power plant run by a company that was of course named Kevolution Energy. On the surface it was a nice tribute, and that's how most players took it until 8 seasons later. As the Cube Queen gathered her army, something unexpected happened at Steamy, the first time anything would happen here in over 2 years. A cube had broken out of the power plant, and emerging from the wreckage was Kevin. Because the Chapter 1 island was reformed into the Chapter 2 one, this entire time it was Kevin in Steamy Stacks. And so as he went to join the war effort, he left only 2 words: Kev out. After 4 years of speculation, Kevin's story finally came to a close, but another one was only just beginning. The last reality mystery. One day we're running around in a primal world with our most dangerous problem being wildlife, and seemingly overnight thrown into darkness. Out of nowhere, an alien invasion shifted our attention away from one of Fortnite's most overlooked mysteries. Throughout Season 6 we followed Raz, a man obsessed with the Spire, claiming it held secrets unlike anything we had seen before. We learned that it had called to him in his dreams as a child, that he spent his entire life trying to get to the Fortnite island and discover the Spire's hidden past. Something big was about to happen, we just didn't know it yet. NPCs like Jonesy the First warned us to stop Raz, worried that he would be corrupted by the Spire's power, but it was too late. Raz's dedication had paid off. He uncovered an artifact covered in glitchy purple ruins. It took over his body, turning him into the Glyph Master, and as his power grew, we had to fight him and reclaim the stolen artifact. But the damage was already done. The last reality had ambushed the island and destroyed the Spire for good, and Raz's story was wrapped up. But with so many questions, fans just weren't happy with the conclusion. We went back and tried to figure out what Raz had learned, why the arrival of the last reality was so sudden. Luckily, we found answers. It was revealed that Raz's backbling held a crucial piece to the mystery, something that was hidden in plain sight and wasn't revealed until an entire season later. All you had to do was look closely, and there it was, the crown of the Cube Queen. We quickly realized what this meant. The community was looking at this completely wrong. Raz wasn't learning the secrets of the Spire, he had led the last reality right to our front door, beginning the invasion. So what were they after? Well, that lies in the Big Bang mystery. It's Chapter 1, and the entire community is banded together to unlock a mysterious vault on the island, and after weeks of effort, the final rune clicks and the 0 point is revealed.
Oh my god!
What's happening?
Holy Jesus! Yo!
I'm going in.
Oh my god!
I'm in this astral plane or something, brother.
There's like a crystal ball as well. Do you see that?
At the time, this orb was simply hiding in the background, and the community didn't pay much attention at first. But as time moved on, this seemingly innocent orb began to play a crucial role in the Fortnite storyline, and we just hadn't realized it yet. Eventually, everything begins to center around the 0 point. A wild monster tries to take it, exposing it to the world. It destabilizes, causing rifts in time and space. Time travel brings back old events and places, confusing us even more. We had no idea what was going on. A group known as the Seven leaves tapes, explaining their plan to save the 0 point from exploding. We learned that this orb is more powerful than we first thought. It would attract a lot of attention from anyone who learned about it. But before we could unlock its secrets, it was too late. The end was approaching. This black hole took us into Chapter 2, a new beginning where all the mysteries and questions we once had were tossed to the side. Throughout the chapter, villains and secret groups try to get control of the 0 point, with Galactus noting that it is the most powerful energy he has ever come across. With the emergence of the Imagined Order in Season 5, we discovered that the 0 point can be used to open portals to other realities, giving us a taste of its true potential. But it's not until years later that the answer to the mystery is finally unlocked. The Foundation, the leader of the Seven, reveals that the 0 point created all life as we know it. In the beginning, there was nothing. Then, in a blast of pure creation, the 0 point sprang into being. Here we call that the Big Bang, how every universe came to exist. And so at the very center of these countless universes, Reality Zero, the home of the 0 point, the start of everything. The 0 point was not only powerful, it was the link between every single reality that has ever existed. The Imagined Order's battle for control now made sense. If you control the 0 point, you'll become the most powerful person that has ever existed. Villains have come and gone, but the Imagined Order still retains their power, and they're willing to do anything to maintain order, which helped us solve the loop mystery. Since the beginning of Fortnite Battle Royale, everything that we do has been accepted as simply part of the game, but some things just never added up. When a player was eliminated, they would be picked up by a robot, and through the years this evolved. But now if you die on the island, you disintegrate into cubes. Other things seemed out of place too. Suddenly, major storyline characters like Midas and Jonesy were getting different outfits, new skins. It just didn't make sense. It was becoming apparent that there was a reason for all of this, but there was never an explanation. And so years pass and we put our suspicions to the side, assuming the answer will never be revealed. Until Fortnite's crossovers come into play, bringing Thor to the Fortnite Island. Here he begins to also lose his memory, fighting against an unknown force. He's being controlled, but we don't know how or why. And the same phenomenon happens in the Fortnite Batman comics over a year later. Batman forgets his own identity, puzzled by his surroundings, and as the world's greatest detective decides to get to the bottom of it. He investigates the loop, eventually discovering it resets your memory every 22 minutes and somehow forces people to fight each other to the death. If you try to leave, you would be evaporated, so instead they're stuck here fighting until the end of time without even knowing it. So Batman dives deeper into this mystery, figuring out that the loop is controlled by an organization known as the Imagined Order, and they enforce it using the storm, which must take a significant amount of power. From this, we're able to put together that the IO is powering the loop with the 0 point to keep their activities top secret. If you heard about the anomaly and came to investigate, the IO would wipe your memory and keep you as a prisoner on the island forever. And they did all of it without ever laying a finger on you. The mystery of the loop, what controlled it, and why it was here was finally solved after 4 years. And so as we close the case on this mystery, we were also able to learn about the bunker. It all started back in 2017, half a decade ago. Fortnite didn't have a storyline. It was a game which we played every day and didn't think twice about, until one day, everything changed.
Come over this hill. There we go, guys. The secret bunker. Now, you may be thinking, Ali, just crack it open. You can't.
As the seasons continued, more bunkers appeared, and opening them seemed to be completely out of the question. Whoever or whatever owned these bunkers had a secret to hide, and they were not willing to let anyone know about it. With these bunkers confusing the whole community, the mysterious occurrences continued. A new organization appeared on the island, setting up camp at Dusty Divot and also holding secret operations in the basement of Wailing Woods. On paper, this meant something important was about to happen, but as we waited and waited, the bunkers and this government organization faded out of the spotlight. Our search for answers was brought to a halt. So as we moved on to chapter 2, people noticed that these bunkers were appearing once again, and this time in even more hidden locations. The story wasn't over. We had to get to the bottom of it, but nobody knew how. It was one of Fortnite's longest running mysteries. Just what was in these bunkers? Well, luckily, over 5 years since we were first introduced to them, Batman and his investigation of the loop was able to open them. It turned out that since the beginning, the Imagined Order have been using these bunkers to get their operatives onto the island. Agents like John Jones would wear disguises and do field work, using the bunkers as safe transportation in and out of the loop. They led straight to the bridge, the headquarters of the Imagined Order, and were guarded by iron golems and hundreds of IO guards in case of any intruders. It was then we realized that the Imagined Order had been pulling the strings since the very beginning, posing as a government to go undetected. They would investigate situations on the island like the crash of the meteor, which also was the first appearance of the Visitor, kickstarting the Fortnite storyline and sending us into a mystery that would not be solved until 14 seasons later, and that is the 7 mystery. When the Visitor emerged from the meteor, he noticed that the government, which we now know was the Imagined Order, had him surrounded. He decides to sabotage their work by trashing their labs and destroying their supplies before fleeing in the rocket. We never heard from him again. By the time the next season arrived, a lot of us had forgotten about the Visitor, not realizing just how incredibly crucial his story would become. A year went by and a new character was introduced into the storyline known as the Paradigm. She had a similar suit design to the Visitor and was described as being a member of a mysterious group known as the 7. The group grew larger pretty quickly as the scientist made his way to the island. With the 0 point destabilizing, he had to do something fast. He left tapes documenting his progress and claimed what the 7 of them were attempting was very risky, but it must be done. However, we had still only been introduced to 3 members. Before we could find out who was risking their lives to save reality, the 7's plan had already begun. One of them flew into the 0 point, weakening its defenses, with the other 6 leading the meteor straight towards it, and their identities remained a total secret. And for almost 2 years, we wouldn't hear from the 7 again, until one day John Jones broke into the Imagined Order, stealing files related to the 7. He used the information he gathered to craft a plan and got to work, and this would introduce us to the Foundation.
Unbelievable. It actually worked.
The seven were finally back, but the mystery remained. There were still 3 members missing, and before we could get some answers, the Foundation sealed himself away inside of the spire, and all of our hope of getting closure was gone. It took months before the Foundation story was back on track after being thrown from the Zero Point into Gotham City and making his way back to the island. He located John Jones and saved him from the Imaginor's grasp, but it wasn't until Chapter 3 where these 7 secrets would finally be revealed. This flip side of the island contained the Sanctuary, a temporary home for the 7. We figured out that this is where they have been hiding for years. Just like the Imaginorder hid in plain sight with bunkers, the 7 were on the other side of the Fortnite Island. And at the Sanctuary, totems appeared. There were 7 totems, each representing a different member of the 7. 3 of these totems finally revealed the names of the unidentified members, introducing the origin and the sisters. This allowed the community to finally close the case on a mystery that spanned 3 chapters, half a decade of speculation, dozens of live events, and way more. And those were 7 Fortnite mysteries that were solved years later. Hope you guys enjoyed. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.